You scrolled past something today. Most people did. A headline, 3 seconds on your phone. Something about a Senate vote. Your brain said, not for me. This video is about what you scrolled past and why it might be one of the most important financial moments of this decade. XRP made simple. Understand why the Senate just moved it in one video. No jargon, no hype, no price predictions, just the story, clearly told, so that by the time this video ends, you will understand something most people walked past today. Welcome to XRP and Friends, the future of finance, built different. Imagine a door. Behind it is something valuable, but nobody can agree on who holds the key. That is the story of XRP for the last 6 years. In America, 2 agencies regulate financial assets. The SEC handles securities, stocks, bonds. The CFTC handles commodities, gold, oil. Both looked at crypto and said, ours. Neither agreed. And without a law to settle it, nobody moved. Banks stepped back. Institutions waited. Billions in potential capital sat outside that door, not because XRP failed, because the door was locked. The Clarity Act is the key. It draws a clean legal line, permanent federal law. XRP on the commodity side, for good. Today, that door started to open. For months, this vote kept getting delayed. January, canceled. February, postponed. March and April, nothing. Today it happened. The Senate Banking Committee voted 15-9. The Clarity Act advanced out of committee. That is the headline, but here's the number that actually matters. 2. 2 Democrats voted yes, in a committee expected to split on party lines. Why does that matter? The full Senate needs 60 votes to pass this bill. That means at least 7 Democrats must cross over on the floor. Today, 2 already did, before the real debate has even started. The last time crypto followed this exact pattern, it was the Genius Act, the stablecoin law. It cleared the full Senate 68-30. The same early resistance, the same eventual agreement. And while all of that was happening in Washington, Bitcoin dropped below $80,000. 600 million left Bitcoin ETFs in a single day. XRP held up on the day while everything around it fell. The market was speaking. You just had to know what to listen for. The lesson. A 15-9 bipartisan committee vote is not the end. It is the beginning. The Genius Act started the same way. It ended 68-30. Watch the pattern, not just the headline. Every major crypto benefits from the Clarity Act, but XRP's story is personal. In 2020, the SEC sued Ripple, called XRP an illegal security. Coinbase delisted it. Custodians pulled it. Banks paused. A 2023 court ruling helped, but institutional sales stayed in a gray zone. In March 2026, the SEC and CFTC jointly said XRP is a digital commodity. That felt like the storm clearing, but a joint agency ruling is not a law. The next administration could reverse it with a single memo. The Clarity Act writes it into federal statute, permanent. No memo undoes an act of Congress. And when that happens, the institutions sitting outside that locked door finally walk through it. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing here is financial advice. But here is what Standard Chartered, one of the world's largest banks, said publicly. They project $4 to $8 billion in XRP ETF inflows if this bill becomes law. Year-end price target, $2.80 base, $8 bull case. Those are not predictions. That is what happens when a locked door opens. The lesson. XRP spent 6 years in a legal shadow not because it failed, but because the law had not caught up. Today, the law moved one step closer to catching up. Here is where we stay honest. Today was not the finish line. The full Senate still needs 60 votes. 7 Democrats must cross over. That deal is not done yet. The ethics provision, rules on government officials in crypto, is still unresolved. After that, House reconciliation. Then, the presidential signature. The hard deadline is July. If it slips past that, 2030 becomes realistic. But the Genius Act faced the same resistance. It passed 68 to 30. Crypto finds its friends when that final vote comes. Every single time so far. The lesson. Hope without honesty is hype. The path is real. The risks are real. Hold both. That is how you stay in the game long enough for the story to finish. The information is not hidden. It was on CNBC today, Bloomberg, Reuters. Anyone could have read it. Most people did not stop. Not because they're not smart, because their brain made a decision in half a second. Too complex. Psychologists call this complexity aversion. Your brain filters out anything it cannot decode right now. And Senate Banking Committee Clarity Act feels impossible to decode until someone slows it down for you. That is the entire purpose of this channel. Wealth is not built by the smartest people in the room. It is built by the most patient. The ones who stop when others scroll, who read what others call boring. That is exactly when you pay attention. The lesson. Every wealth-building moment in history looked boring to most people when it was happening. The ones who stopped were not lucky. They were paying attention. Let me tell you what the Clarity Act is really about. Not the politics, not the price targets. For the first time in the history of digital assets, the U.S. federal government is placing XRP at the center of the regulated global financial system. Not at the edges, at the center. Banks can use XRP for cross-border payments without legal exposure. ETFs can hold XRP and bring institutional capital. Ripple's payment corridors, Japan, Europe, emerging markets, can finally operate at real scale. The U.S. Treasury Secretary called this a national security issue. The Coinbase CEO said it makes the financial system faster, cheaper, more accessible. This is not hype. This is infrastructure. Educate, build, freedom, impact. That's the plan. That is why this channel exists. And you're already here. That puts you ahead of everyone who scrolled past. The lesson. The wealth transfer is not a rumor. It is a legal framework being built in real time. The people who understand what they're watching will look back at May 14th, 2026 and know exactly what they saw. Well, that's episode 1 of XRP and Friends. If this gave you clarity on something that felt complicated, that's the point. Subscribe so you're here for every update as this story develops. Share this with one person who needs to see it. You know who they are. All sources are in the description. Read them. Verify everything. Focus, discipline, patience, time, freedom. See you in the next one.